What is our number one most precious gift? Time. As leaders, what do we do with the time that we have to get things done? We try to cram as much possible into our 8-hour day, 10-hour day, whatever your day looks like. And in the end, a lot of times, it all can't get done. There is not enough time in the day. I can't tell you how many times leaders come to me and they're like, I just don't have enough time. So on the episode today, we're going to talk about my triple D's of how to get things done leadership hack episode. Stay with us. Tune in. Welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. I am your host, John Espinosa. Welcome everybody to the Leading Leaders podcast. Hey everyone, John here. Welcome to the Leading Leaders podcast. Thank you all for joining me today, and welcome to those new subscribers, those new listeners out there. Welcome to the Go Be Great community. Thank you for joining us. Your time, most precious gift that we have, and it really means a lot that you spend it with me. If you're enjoying this content, make sure that you're subscribed so you don't miss out on any of the episodes, and give us a thumbs up if you enjoy what you're hearing. It helps give me feedback, make modifications on the content, the time limit, all of that. So the thing that we are going to dive into today is how to get things done. And we're on this theme of leadership hacks. This is the season, leadership hacks. And the way I phrased this when I was journaling down this morning, I was thinking about, what are the things that I wish I knew day one? What are some of the tips and tricks that I had with me when I walked into a leadership position? Maybe it was a team lead, maybe it was official manager, or maybe you're just leading yourself. That's where leadership starts. A leader of one, go look at that episode if you haven't listened to it. But with ourselves, we only have a certain amount of time in a day. I can't go out and create more time for myself. There's just no way. So what do we have to do? We either have to duplicate or clone ourselves to get things done, or we find others that help us get things done, or we just don't do them. So today we're going to talk about the triple D's of things that I wish I knew day one. These three things, if I would have implemented them, I would have been a lot less stressed out. As we move from an individual contributor role where we got a task list, we're being tasked by somebody, they let us know majority of the time what we need to do on a day-to-day basis, and you do those things. At the end of the day, you figure out where you're at. Maybe you're checking off some things. Maybe you got a couple more things that you need to get done. Maybe it's a long-term project and you're hitting your milestones and you go about your way. But as you transition from that individual contributor role into a leadership role, now we have to organize that work through our team. We have to make sure that they're equipped, that they have everything that they possibly need to get the job done. We're not in the weeds anymore. And that was a hard lesson for me to learn. I don't know if any of you are in that same boat, but I'm a fixer. I like to get my hands dirty. I like to get down with everybody else and do what they're doing because that's immediate gratification for me. That's like mowing the grass. There's nothing better than mowing the grass, by the way. You mow the grass, you immediately see a difference. That's the thing with getting things done that I miss being in a leadership role. I still have those opportunities every now and then, but as a leader, where I'm going is you're going to have to develop patience. You're going to have to develop skills to delegate work. You're going to have to learn how to create processes and systems around the work so that way others can do the work and you can lead them through getting that work done. Because if you try to take it all on yourself, that's a recipe for disaster. And any of you who have tried it know what I'm talking about. When we overtask ourselves, and they could be very small tasks, but small task on small task on small task begins to start eating up a lot of our time as leaders. And guess what? Pretty soon, we're doing all the tasks and we're not doing any of the leading. So if you see what I'm saying and you're there with me, you're going to want to listen because we're going to get into the triple D's of how to get things done. We're going to get into the first D. And I got a story for you about this one. I was on a run the other day with a thought partner. If you don't have a thought partner, you need to get you one. A thought partner is somebody that you can call up. Maybe you're in a bad spot. Maybe you have a challenge. Maybe you just are trying to think outside the box a little bit and you need someone to bounce ideas off of. You need someone to listen. You need someone to maybe help you understand the answer, where you're going. That's what a thought partner is. And for me, I have a handful of really good thought partners that I like to pull on every now and then. This one happens to be located here with me. So we go out for a run and I start talking to him about this podcast that I was doing and how to get things done. And he said very early on when he was starting his company, he was the single source. Everything ran through him. He started the company on his back. He built the company to a nice size organization, but he was still the single source of failure, the single point of failure in the company because everything was coming through him. So one day he had an emergency. He had to get away from the office, and that required him to leave somebody in charge. And that's what he did. He left somebody in charge, forwarded all the phone calls, all the emails, everything that he was doing, gave it to this person. Went away to handle the emergency. Guess what didn't stop? The work. Guess what actually got better? The work. So out of just happenstance, he realized that this delegation thing really does work. And then, make a long story short, he shared with me also now, before he sold his company, when he had to do something, he was like, don't I have somebody who I've delegated this to, or somebody that can do this? That's how far the tables had turned. It was almost a complete 180 from where he was at, where he was doing everything to he was comfortable with delegating the work. And the first D being delegation. And that's a key word, comfortable. You as a leader need to understand that you cannot get it all done. You can't be the one doing everything and being that single point of failure. Because if you get sick, if you have to handle an emergency, if you have to step away from your role at any point in time, guess what happens? You've just created that big stopgap. Work stops, nothing gets done, and productivity plummets. Now, I don't know about you and the organization that you run. We can't have that. We can't have a day where no work gets done. So what do we have to do? We have to delegate that work. Up front, it's pretty intimidating. You got to sit with somebody and you got to have a lot of patience and you got to show them hopefully that you got a process or a system created, because that's a whole nother episode that we'll talk about. But you take that process in the system and it's either documented or you work them through it. They do it. Now here's where the patience comes from. They are not going to do it the way that you would do it. And that's hard. Trust me, I like things a particular way. Very, you could say OCD when things need to get done. So delegation was a big obstacle for me when I came into leadership. But it was critical that I understood the fact I needed to do it. And I couldn't micromanage people delegating the work, because then you're just creating a toxic environment. That micromanaging where people feel like you're looking over their shoulder or they're not empowered to make decisions, that's not a good culture that you want to have on your team. So delegation is important for us to get things done as leaders. And that's the first. There's a reason why I talk about it first, because when tasks come up, that's the first thing that I think about. Why? Because it's the most important thing. It's the thing that I'm least comfortable with. So I always do those hard things first in anything that I try to do. So delegation, can I delegate this work to somebody? If it's a yes, do it. If it's a no, then you move on to one of the other two Ds. So the second of the triple Ds is do the work yourself. Do it yourself. Now, you heard me talk about that at the beginning of the podcast, and that's all in good. Yeah, you can probably get it done faster. You definitely get it done the way you want it done, right? But let me share another story with you. So the supply list story. I've shared this with a couple people and they get a really good laugh out of it. We had an individual on our team who they retired, and they did a lot of our ordering of supplies. And I'm talking like pens, pencils, paper, signage, anything, office supplies type stuff. And she left. In the team, we were already a person down. So in my all wise knowledge, I decided, hey, I can do supplies. I've done supplies before, right? I can get it done. So I told everybody, send me all your lists, send me what you need. I'll get it done. A month went by. During one of our weekly team meetings, they asked, hey, what about those supplies, John? Yeah, I'm getting to them. I'm putting the list together. I'm going to get it out. Another couple weeks run by. Hey, John, just checking in on that supplies. My ink's really getting low on my pen, that sort of thing. I'm joking, but you see where I'm going here. I never got it done. I took on the responsibility and I never got it done because priorities kept on coming in. That list kept on getting pushed down. It never got done. So what did I end up doing? About 3 months later, somebody on the team said, hey, John, would you like me to take that supply list? I'm probably because they were literally running out of ink in their pens. I can get it done. Thank you. I appreciate that. But that's an example of if you take on too many, and it was a small task. Don't get me wrong. It probably would have taken me, if I would have sat down and concentrated, less than 30 minutes to put everything together, send over, get it bought, get it purchased, and, confirmed. That's not what I mean, though, because it was that task, and then it may be like taking meeting minutes or hosting a meeting or, whatever that small task is. Those small tasks begin to build upon each other. And if you do everything yourself, especially if you have a team, now if you're a team of one, we're talking a different story. But if you have a team and you're not working through your team, and it's okay to do some things yourself, things that you can't delegate, you got to do yourself. There are inherent leadership duties, performance discussions, time and attendance in my organization. There are things that we can't delegate. So yeah, those are things that I do myself. But I try to shorten that list. I try to shorten my list of things that I do myself because that creates more capacity for me to do other things leadership-wise that I'm supposed to be doing. Clearing out roadblocks, maybe sending out emails, asking for statuses, or getting things unstuck that may be stuck. You can't do those things if you're doing those tasks, especially when there are too many of them. So the second thing, do it yourself. I would limit this option. I really would. The third one is delay. So you can delay the task. You can delay getting things done. I'm not a big procrastinator, but there are things that, like the supplies list, that gets pushed back, and keeps on getting pushed back. Why? Because I had higher priorities come in. So I delayed it, and then I delayed it long enough to where now it was impacting the organization. And somebody else, thank goodness, offered to take up that task for me, and I obliged, thankfully, and gave it to him. So what I'm trying to get there is you can only delay things for so long before they start impacting the organization. And that's why it's the third one out of the triple Ds, because for the most part, delaying only works if maybe it's a very low priority, low return on investment task. But for the most part, you need to get things done. You need to delegate them or do them yourself, and then delay could be that third option. So I hope that my triple Ds have helped you all when you step into leadership. And listen to me now, because this is very important takeaway from this whole entire podcast conversation. What got you to the leadership position will not make you successful moving forward in that leadership position. Let me say that again. Put down everything, pull over on the side of the road if you're listening to this. Stop running. If you're working out, if you're running, what got you to the position that you are currently in will not move you forward in that position. The things that made you successful as an individual contributor, those skills, the responsibilities, will not help you move forward as a leader. You are going to have to learn how to delegate. You're going to have to learn what things you pick and choose to do yourself, and depending on the priority, what things you delay. So walking in the door, those are three things I wish I knew in that order, because it would have helped me out a lot, specifically when I ordered supplies. But overall time management and really time prioritization, how to prioritize your time. I'm not saying you leaders out there can't go do things when you need to get things done. What I'm asking though is, are you the single point of failure to when it does reach a certain level, an emergency, that you're the only one that can get those things done? Hopefully you're creating capacity within your teams to work through your teams and lead those teams, so that way there's a primary and there's a backup person that can do those tasks. And I promise you, that's going to go a long way with work distribution when those fires do come in, when priority zeros do come in, and you got to get somebody on them and you got to get them off your desk. That's going to be a little better situation when you can work through people and you're coordinating and not in the weeds doing the work. So I hope this helps somebody today. Stick with us. It's all going to be about leadership hacks. I hope they're going to help not only leaders that are maybe thinking about taking on a new role, but those new leaders out there, and then seasoned leaders. Drop a comment. I mean, am I on track with some of these concepts, with some of this stuff? Because share some advice for the leaders out there. This is why the Go Be Great community is so awesome, because we're all helping each other get to where we're going. We're all sharing information and making sure that we take care of each other, because when we as leaders get better, that allows us to be a better version of ourselves and pour into others. Hit that subscribe button. You're not going to want to miss any of the episodes this month. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know if you like the content. Go be great, everybody. Talk to y'all later. Bye-bye. If you like what you're hearing, do us a favor. Click on that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up or leave a comment. That lets us know that what we are putting out benefits you. If you want additional information or resources or learn how to work with me, head on over to thejohnespinosa.com, because when we become better versions of ourselves, it helps us get others to where they're going. Go be great. Talk to everyone later.